Keep in mind, this is him commenting like fucking 6 years ago. Over that now. So weighed 180 pounds in this pic. I wanted to get bigger and better. I will be 50 pounds heavier this year with more conditioning. Thanks. What's up guys, Derek, moreplaysmartdates.com. Today we are going to be talking about another potential retroactive fake natty scenario. So a bunch of you guys DM'd me this, and it was this time another Canadian phenom, Regan, and he posted, he did a Q&A, I guess. Somebody said post a pic of when you were natty. It's pretty much literally the exact same thing that Bumstead did, and it led to this video of Bumstead claiming he's natural in the 18-year-old pic on the left. I don't know if Regan saw that and was like, oh shit, like, you know, this is like the exact same fucking question for the exact same scenario. But he was also 18 years old, and he posted an 18-year-old natty pic and also looks exceptional. So expectedly, a bunch of people blew me up and were like, there's no way his triceps look like this. Look at his fucking delt. Look at the veins climbing up his front deltoid here. There's too much tricep mass to be natural. Blah, blah, blah. So, you know, there's a kind of a weird scenario because these guys are top, like Olympia caliber bodybuilders, and, you know, like everyone knows they're not natural, obviously, but the pictures, like before they started actually like cranking for, you know, trying to become a good pro bodybuilder, obviously at some point they were natural. So it's this weird scenario where bodybuilders are like posting pictures and people are trying to accuse them of being retroactive, not just fake natty, like a retroactive fake natty, because they're obviously not faking their natural status right now. They will all be the first to admit that it's just fucking impossible to look like them without gear. So anyways, was he on gear at this point? That's what we're going to be talking about. So, you know, I would have thought that people would have had a bit more leeway given the Chris Bumstead situation that literally just fucking happened, but a lot of guys think that this is also very unnatural and think it's absolutely impossible to look like this naturally. So, you know, like I will also admit that this looks great. You know, this is a physique that most people, even on gear, won't look like, to be honest. Most people on gear, you can't even tell they're on gear, and that's just, you know, probably the reason so many people are getting on gear is to look, you know, like presentable, as opposed to, you know, a lot of guys with sick genetics, maybe they just like don't feel like they need it. And then the guys that do have sick genetics and take gear, those are the guys who end up competing and fucking shitting on everyone. So Regan, obviously we know he's an Olympia caliber bodybuilder. He literally competes in the open class of Mr. Olympia. He's not that classic physique is bad or anything, but we know he's capable of packing on stupid amounts of size. So when we see this, keep this in context here. So I'm going to go to, it took me a while because this guy is a fiend on Instagram. He has 4,593 posts, just absolutely insane. Like this is like the most committed individual I have seen to posting consistently on Instagram probably ever in this industry. So anyways, it took me a fucking while to get to the bottom. So like it probably took me longer to get to the bottom of the Instagram than it took me to actually, it's gonna take me to film this fucking video. So I scrolled all the way down. I've got preloaded here. So this is his first picture ever in 2012. So this shot is about the same time frame, as far as I know, of this shot here at 18 years old. He took, you know, a few different shots around this time. Here he is on the beach. Here he is doing a little fucking, I don't know, what do you call this? Like a Backstreet Boy fucking selfie. Looking at, this is like the OG TikTok shit right here, you know. Then we've all done it though, you know, no shame at all whatsoever. You know, everyone, when you first get shredded, you're gonna pull off a bunch of mirror selfies, and he looks sick, obviously. He says here, all natural, 438 weeks ago. Soon to be not though. So anyways, we keep going. He's competing here, bodybuilding competition. It's funny just seeing some of these old comments, 429 weeks ago. Hey man, I'm cutting right now. Any tips on getting abs? Hanging leg raises, sets of 20 or sets of 30. How many sets? Free shoutouts at free fitness shoutouts. It's like, would you ever see him commenting this now? Probably not. But it's just funny to see people like where they come from and like their old shit. Man, this is quite the setup right here. We got some myofusion. This was good tasting protein. I remember that. Eno Explode, not great pre-workout now, but back in the day it was pretty solid if I remember correctly. Cell mass, don't know what that is. Maybe some creatine. Metal, no idea. Universal Shaker, I know he was a, well, him and Antoine Vaillant are friends now, but back then he was kind of like me, just like a fucking fanboy guy, you know? Like I'm about, like when I was first coming up bodybuilding too, I basically did the same thing as Regan. I would watch like Antoine's YouTube videos and shit and get inspired to go work out and stuff. And that's kind of what he was inspired by to start. Like obviously he actually went and did like real bodybuilding and he had the genetics for it. But there were a lot of guys in that kind of time frame who were inspired by Antoine in Canada. And Regan was certainly one of them, and he had the genetics to take it all the way, and now actually, you know, competes with Antoine on the Olympia stage, which is pretty cool to see. And you can see him here progressing. This is through one of his like biggest bulk phases, by the way. So, and I'll explain why it is. Like, here's a picture of him with Antoine way back to 2012, dude. So obviously, he used to look, you know, like a normal guy, and then he gained about fucking 100 pounds of muscle, and that's where he's at now. But when everyone sees this picture, they just see this tricep pressing against the side, being pushed out and looking bigger than it, you know, like this, the side tricep shot is very flattering for individuals with half decent arms, and Regan has good arm genetics too, as far as overall like mass to them. You know, in certain poses, obviously you could argue otherwise, but I mean, like in general, he has like good arms. So the actual picture itself, it's funny seeing some of these old OG supplements. Like I used to walk home from the mall carrying like 3 of these. They were like, they'd come in like 15-pound bags, and I literally have like, I'd have like 2 on my fucking shoulders, and I would just like walk all the way back from the mall to my house because I didn't drive back then, and then I would have like 2 of these a day and just like completely nauseate myself, borderline puke, to get in my fucking 6,000 calories of dirty food because I just had no idea what I was doing. But good times though, it gives me good flashbacks. Here is drinking Zeus by Fusion. I don't know what that was, but I remember Purple K was like the hyped up creatine that's like fucking steroids but creatine. Here's that time frame again, Thursday throwback. See, it's funny here is I don't know if he was sponsored by Universal, but he was like tagging them in the same posts as this other company that he might have actually been sponsored by. So I don't know if he just like really wanted to get sponsored by Universal, or if he's just, maybe he's just tagging everyone. Never mind. That's maybe reading a bit too much into it. But let's see. So here he's getting a fuck ton of size, as you can see. And where was that picture? I had it pulled up. Okay, well I have it pulled up on the side here anyway, so I'm not going to find it through the main thing. But this, he posted on January 2nd, 2014. So this is a throwback in 2014 when I was 18 years old, a couple weeks out from my first show. OPA 2014. Good experience. Here he says, on to OPA 2014. So basically, as far as I remember, back then you would do a regional level show, and if you did like decent, you would get qualified for the provincials, which I'm pretty sure is what, maybe the OPA is the league. I don't know if that's like the name of the provincial show or not. I'm pretty sure OPA is like the Ontario Physique Association or something, and they do the every show like subpar of the like below national level. So you would do well at an Ontario regional show, then you do the provincials, and if you do well at that, then you go on to the nationals, and that's where you compete for your pro card. And that's actually where we saw Bumstead and Regan meet for the first time, if I recall correctly, and that's where this kind of like hype train started behind these 2 phenoms. And Regan was actually, I think, on the radar even sooner than Bumstead, if I recall correctly, or it was around the same time. But they both did pretty similarly in results, and Bumstead would kind of edge out Regan in those shows. But you could tell Regan's genetics were like, he was going places too. So anyways, you can see in the comment section, this is 368 weeks ago. Just curious, man, what made you want to put on mass and not keep it at this? What did you weigh in this pic? Triceps look insane. So keep in mind, this is him commenting like fucking 6 years ago. Over that now. So weighed 180 pounds in this pic. I wanted to get bigger and better. I will be 50 pounds heavier this year with more conditioning. Thanks. 50 pounds, guys. So this picture where he says he's natty, he's 18 years old. He weighed 180. See if there's any other pictures. I bet no one in high school wanted to fight you. Let's see. Okay, so anyways, this is the picture obviously that's in question. So we find the original post, we see the statistics behind it. And a lot of people don't realize that this guy actually exploded in the next 2 years after this. He went on to do a 2-year off season where he gained like 80 pounds or something ridiculous. And then he showed up at his next show. I'll just show you. It's in his body transformation post from 2015. So this is him, natural, obviously, at 10 years old. Here he is, 155 pounds, age 17. 165 pounds, age 17. So you can see when he's chilling here, he has like an outline of a six-pack. He's not a rail, he has some muscle on him. And at this time, I don't even think he was working out. So he started working out, and here he is rowing like a billion plates. And then age 18, 175 pounds. And this is roughly around the time where he did that, that picture. So after this point, let's see. Okay, so he says, shredded down for my first fitness bodybuilding competition, started at 200 pounds, March 2012, cut to 175 on stage, June 2012. So maybe this at 180 is him like a couple weeks out from the show, I guess. I think he said that. Did he say that in this one? A couple weeks out from the first show. So he was like 180 here, and he continued getting down to 175 for the stage, which is this. So this is him like as a natural on stage. You know, that's what he says anyways. So after this point, he wins, I don't know what this is. He's like a firefighter here. Is this like one of those like WBFF type shows or something? Anyways, so he says after his first show, he discovered his passion for bodybuilding, decided to take 2 full years off. So this is like very, very good example of delayed gratification. Like instead of, you know, bulking for 3 months, cutting for 3 months, and then trying to do another show and doing better, the guy literally took 2 years off to prepare for his first OPA bodybuilding debut. So this is like the first show to become on your road to your pro card, essentially, in how the Canada League worked. So from June 2012, in, you know, roughly right after that picture, essentially, after that show, he goes into his off season where I don't think he would argue that he was not enhanced at this point. Like he starts to bulk up like crazy. He gains a ridiculous amount of mass, and he goes from 80 pounds, 175 pounds to 255, age 18 to 20. So, and this is where he ended up cutting down and showing up to that show and just absolutely like ruining guys. Like it was just so obvious that this guy had ridiculous potential at that time. He was only 20 years old, and he looked better than guys who have been competing their whole lives, who are, you know, at the national level. And it was just, I don't know, it was just the structure and everything. You know, maybe, you know, you can argue now his structure might limit him at like the very top level at the Olympia, but back this structure here, like this looks absolutely like insane, dude, to the point where you would think that there's no way this guy isn't going to be a top pro very soon. And, you know, he ended up being an Olympia caliber bodybuilder expectedly. So basically you're saying, if you don't think this was natural, that he did his first cycle to get to this, maybe, I don't know how early people think he sauced, but they think he cycled to get to this. And then after that cycle, he went on to do an off season where he gained 80 pounds and ended up like this on his second, you know, I don't know, like a second, third, and fourth cycle or something. So like for you to explode this much and have such a hyper response, what is the likelihood that you were already enhanced at this point? Like, are you going to be able to step on stage at 210 pounds? So he gained 35 pounds of stage weight to get like from his first show to this OPA debut. Would you gain 35 pounds of stage weight if you were already enhanced at this point? I would say highly unlikely, to be honest. And then past this point, he actually continued and started to develop his physique more. And now he, you know, competes at, like this is his off season after that. He was age 21, bulked up to 270. And then since then, you know, he's been showing up on stage heavier and heavier. And, you know, I don't know what his stage weight is now, but obviously it is like he's packed on like 70 pounds of muscle since this shot here. Like, do you think you would have 70 pounds of muscle left of progression if you were already enhanced at this point? I would say probably not, to be honest. So I don't know, man. For me, this seems like another example of we're looking at a guy who's a top Olympia competitor. Like, he's not a top 6 guy or anything, but the fact that he even made it to the Olympia, not even, like, we're not talking about classic physique. We're talking about open fucking bodybuilding. Guys who were showing up at like 280 on stage and shit. This guy is competing against those guys and is actually like in the conversation for being a like future, you know, top guy. And he's already at the top in terms of being in the competitive sphere of these other fucking guys who were 10 years older than him. So if we can't believe that this guy was Natty at 18 looking like this, like, what can we believe, you know? Like, this guy's genetics are top 0.000001%. So for me, you know, the conclusion, in my opinion, like, here he is actually when he's 3 weeks out from that first show, by the way, because it's, you know, it's one thing to see pictures, but it's one thing to see the actual physique in actual, like, real-time footage. So this was him at a photo shoot back in 2014 after that 2-year off season where he gained the 35 pounds of muscle. And here he is standing here with the, what is this called again? Isn't it like the douchebag beard or something? It was popular when I was in high school, I remember. But anyways, like, obviously the progress is absolutely astounding. 35 pounds of stage weight in 2 years. Would you have been able to do that if you were already on sauce? Here, I don't know, dude. I would say highly unlikely that he made the amount of progress he did, given the fact that, you know, if hypothetically he was on gear here, I just don't think it would have been possible to get to where he's at. So for me, I'm going to say he's telling the truth. He is he's a Mr. Olympia open bodybuilder. Like, if this is not capable of achieving naturally for a Mr. Olympia competitor in the open class, then what the fuck is? You know what I mean? So I think this is an even more obvious example than the Bumstead one. And I'm not really, you know, I just don't see it. You know, I could be wrong, but for me, I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I think he was also natural and would not be lying about, like, literally like 6 months of leeway too. Like, I don't think he would argue. I don't think he would say that he wasn't on gear for that 2-year off season where he gained like 80 pounds. Like, it's pretty obvious that he packed on 35 pounds of stage weight. So what is, like, are you going to pack on 35 pounds of stage weight after you've already progressed to this? Naturally, like, no, obviously there was gear involved getting to this point, but at the point before that, I definitely think it is capable naturally. I think it's possible naturally. So anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think he is a retroactive fake Natty and he's lying? What do you think? All the comments help the algorithm, so they're much appreciated. Like, subscribe, check out my blog, moreplates.com, follow me on Instagram, and moreplates_more_dates, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below, including my TRT clinic. It's all telemedicine from the comfort of your own home. Gorilla Mind, nootropic formulas, Gorilla Mode, pre-workout formulas I designed myself from scratch, my recommended lab test panels, and anything else I'm associated with. It's all in the video description below. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.